Okay, so it has been quite a while since the true ending has come out for Piggy. After that, there's been so many theories coming out about what's coming next, what's happening in Piggy 2, other things that have happened in the other chapters. But you know, there's one thing that really interested me, and it interested a lot of people that noticed it as well, but nobody made a theory on it at all. Nobody talked about this. Where are all the infected? Today we're going to be discussing what happened to literally anyone who was affected by the Piggy virus, as well as what happened to Mr. P himself, which I have a very good idea of what happened to him. But I'm honestly surprised that no one else has talked about it, so let's check it out. So starting with the good ending, the start is pretty much the exact same as the true ending. In fact, there's only two differences between the true ending and the good ending. Number one, the little Mr. P backstory there, where Mr. P tells us about why he did what he did. And number two, take a look at this. As you can see in the good ending, we've got Piggy walking through the house. We got Doggy walking through the forest, having a nice little stroll. We got Teacher in the school, Barry in the hospital, poor dear infected Bunny in the metro, which also confirms that Bunny did in fact get infected in the metro, and also interestingly tells us that those weren't ghosts of Bunny and Doggy. Those were in fact, as they're called, memories. You know, the things that appeared in the final chapter, because remember, their brains are still in there. So Bunny is still alive in there and aware of her actions. So Bunny isn't gone yet. Don't worry about it. Then a very interesting photo of Mrs. Potato. Now remember this will be interesting later. And then we got Granny and Grandma's poutine and stuff like that. But then let's have a look at the true ending. When we go to the true ending, we see in fact there is no Piggy walking through the house. She has left the house. She isn't there anymore. There's no longer any Doggy in the forest. He has wandered off somewhere. There's no longer a Teacher in the school. They're gone. But interestingly enough, Mrs. Potato's photo is still there. Everything's changed about these scenes except for this one with the Mrs. Potato photo. And then Mr. Potato is also gone. I didn't show you, but in the good ending, Mr. Potato's hat is still there. I think that kind of implied that he died, but in the true ending, that's not what happened. He's vanished as well with his hat. So that means he got up and walked off somewhere. But I don't think he just got up and walked off totally unscathed, because this is labeled as the true ending for a reason. Everything that happens here is what actually happens in the story. And as we see, there are two types of scenes in the endings. There's the flashbacks, which are shown as like frames on a wall, and they talk about the past. They talk about the past Piggies before the infection and everything, back when things were happy. And these are all the same in the good, bad, and true ending. So we can know for 100% certainty that this is what exactly happened there, that these were actual images of before the infection. But we also have a flash to what appears to be the present after looking at those past photos. Now, those are the ones that are different between the good/bad ending and the true ending. And we know that these are present cutscenes of what the Piggies are doing now, because it follows the same format to eventually show us Mr. P disappeared as well. It's not just like a little story piece where it didn't actually happen. No, it's actually happening right now. So I think it's safe to say that Minitoon might be trying to tell us something here. Something that no one else has really thought about. Why else would he switch only that up between the endings? Why are there no longer any infected in the Piggy world? And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense too. We know that Pony and everyone else leaves the outpost without seemingly encountering any infected. And remember, the soldier that they did encounter and they bonked was before the end credit cutscene where all the Piggies were gone. So the ending credits could take place minutes to hours to days after everybody leaves the facility. And we know that they didn't have much struggles escaping the outpost from the Piggy 2 trailer. Pedro's busy going off doing something else. He doesn't seem very concerned about like the others being in danger, because there might not be any danger at that point. And also, I think this pretty much confirms that Mr. P actually does become infected, since as we see, it's only the infected in the credits cutscene which disappear. So Penny, Doggy, Grandma, they all disappear. In the good cutscene, Mr. P's hat's still there, similar to Penny and Doggy and all that. But in the true ending, his hat's gone, just like all the other infected people. I think it's safe to assume here Mr. P's infected, rather than Mr. P actually kicking the bucket, which, you know, is really good. I'm really happy about that, because that gives us a chance to save our favorite character, right?
Everyone's favorite character.
Okay, but then, Devown, Where is everybody? Where did all the infected go? Did they just sink into the ground like the soldiers? Did they turn into a little puddle of mud? But no, I have a massive theory on this. This is gonna be awesome. TSP, the only sort of bad guy that we have in the Piggy universe at the moment that we don't even know about. And they've got massive plans. So a large event such as all the infected disappearing would very easily coincide with big plans that a secret organization would have. And of course, remember the note, we can take advantage of the situation going on for our own plans. Thanks, Mr. P. They're doing something with the infected, and I think I know what it is. So remember, all the way back from chapter 5, we know that the piggies are still in there mentally, but they don't have control of their bodies. Something else is controlling their bodies. What if TSP found a way to hijack that? How could they do it? Perhaps through the use of something that can transmit information. Maybe a signal? Maybe the note was right. Maybe we shouldn't trust the signal. This could also explain the notes that were in chapter 9 more. Remember how 1 talked about how she broke out? She's somewhere. We need to find her and gather supporters. An event that was extremely odd and to this day remains unexplained. A lot of people think it was Mousy, but I think it's Mrs. Potato. For those of you who say, but oh, Devon, she's a memory. She's in city as a memory. Blah, 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 blah. I really don't think she is. Because of the circumstances in which we see her in city. Number 1, the lights are on in the city apartment. Firstly, someone had to turn them on and off with like a physical body. It's not like a memory is gonna be able to do that. And not only that, she was interacting with the light to cause a shadow. If she was just a transparent memory, the light would go right through her and all we'd see was just the bright window there for no reason. And we'd be like, oh, why is that window bright compared to the others? But no, she had a physical body. She was blocking the light from hitting the window. Something that the doggy and bunny memories wouldn't have done. And speaking of those two rascals, notice how only 2 memories show up in the final battle? You know, in part 2 of the plan where like you got for you to stay and all the like ghosts come at ya? Well, if Mrs. P was in fact a memory, then why didn't she show up there? Why wasn't she one of the ghosts that came running after us? In fact, I would have loved to see Mrs. P just waddling around towards us. You could argue that it's because she isn't one of our memories. That's why we didn't see her in plan part 2, because we don't have any memories of her. Well, then you fell right into my logical trap. Because then, how did we see her memory in chapter 9? If Mrs. P was in fact a memory, that means we would have had to remember her. We'd have to know her beforehand. That's the only explanation there, but we don't. There's no indication of it, and I highly doubt that we'd know Mrs. P. We didn't even know a Mr. P. So if we have no memory of her, we have no recollection, then how come we could see her memory in chapter 9? And we know they're not ghosts because they're not actually dead, according to the chapter 5 chalkboard. So that's something really interesting to consider. But coming back to the point, if TSP has utilized a signal to actually be able to control the unwilling actions of the piggies and gather them all in one place, that's why I think they're missing from the frames, because they've been gathered. TSP has sent a message out to them to tell them to come to this location and they have to obey. Then Piggy 2 could be way more intense than what we thought, and we could be facing an army way worse than the one in the outpost. Well, what do you think about this, everybody? Why do you think there's a difference between the good and true ending in regards to the piggies showing up in the cutscenes? Let me know down below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the theory. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Goodbye!